The Dubs versus Donegal last week was textbook Dubs under Jim Gavin. Keeping the opposition at arm's length, doing just enough. What are those games like for the players? And do you ever believe you're in trouble in the middle of those games, Paddy? So you were on OTB AM earlier in the week, and we'd meant to get to this with you. Do you ever feel like you're in trouble in those games where maybe, with the other team is in and around you, there's a couple of points either way, and next thing you just see Dublin, whether it's after the water break or just before half time, there's a 5-minute period where they just take over.
Yeah, and I suppose you can look over the last 4 or 5 years. It seems to be a similar pattern with Dublin, where you could say 65 minutes of the game, they're kind of, and Andy, you touched on it, a couple of league games you're reviewing, it looks like they're in third gear, but they're in total control. That they know what they're doing there. Everyone in their team is experienced, and you're talking from Cluxton in goal to Fitzsimons, the full back line, Fenton, McCarthy around the middle, Scully, Khan, Kieran up front. Everyone on that team knows exactly what's required at that exact moment in the game. So like Donegal it's kind of 5-all, it's 6-all, and they're kind of cruising. Donegal are in it, but Dublin are just waiting. That they'll know there's a period where Donegal are going to switch off, or Dublin might win a couple of kickouts off them, win some of Patton's kickouts, or they turn over a defender coming out of defence, and then everyone knows, let's go for the juggler here, let's kill them here. And you do it, and in the blink of an eye, how many times, like you're saying, you've seen over 4 or 5 years that in the space of 3 minutes, Dublin score 1-3 or 1-4, or they score 2-2, and then for the rest of the half, for the next 20 minutes, it's just back to control, keep the ball. But that's what we're talking about. That's the decision making and things like that. So Dublin are more than happy to what may be perceived as being kind of monotonous or boring style of play, because they know there'll be a period here for 2 or 3 minutes where everyone on the pitch is communicating. These guys are rattled here. Let's kill them now. And you can see at the start of the second half, it's 4 points at half time. And then in the space of 3 minutes, they rattle off 3 points from play. They push right up on the kick out. Sean McMahon kicks a point. Fenton kicks a point. Kieran kicks a point. And in the blink of an eye, Donegal would have come out for the start of that second half going, right, we need a quick start here. Let's get it back in the game. And within 3 minutes, Dublin are now 7 points up. And for the rest of the game was a non-event. 30 minutes, Dublin just go back, and they'll keep the ball for 5 minutes. Keep it for 5 minutes, and the opposition, there's no momentum for the opposition. Yeah. Dublin are controlling the game, and that's what I'm talking about. Decision making and just being aware. Okay, they're vulnerable now. Let's kill them. And then go back and just keep the ball.
What I don't understand about it, Paddy, is that you look at the likes of Donegal. We made the mistake over the years. Kerry made the mistake in 2019. Is that players try to play try to be better than Dublin at their own game. Right, so you look at Dublin, they hold the ball for so long. You're going to spend a lot of your time without the football, and they don't seem to have any strategy about it. What seems to happen is Dublin definitely target just before half time. They definitely target just after half time, and teams genuinely run out of energy. So if you look at it, right, and we were on about.
Do you know what, Andy? On that, we actually don't. It's not a specific time in the game. It's just the players will recognise. And that might be 10 minutes into the first half. It's not, here's the first quarter or the second quarter. It might just be, there'll be a moment where everyone realizes these guys are struggling. They can't win their own kick out. And then everyone's like, right, everyone just push forward here. Let's box them in and let's win this game here. It's not a set time. It's just, you're aware, the players are aware of it on the pitch.
And is that soul crushing?
Everyone will sense it.
Andy, is that soul crushing?
Yeah, I have a vision from watching the Donegal Dublin game Saturday evening. I have a vision from it. It's just James McCarthy catching the ball, gathering the ball in the 21 and just sprinting. And Donegal boys just looked out on their feet, and he's just running. And all of a sudden he's at the 55-yard line, and Donegal haven't retreated, haven't got themselves into a good position. And all of a sudden Dublin are in, you can just see the control. And in that period, we were on about shot efficiency over the last couple of weeks. Right? Brearty kicks the ball into the keeper's hands. Kilkenny gets a point. This is just before half time when it's 6-5 to Donegal at the time. McPherson takes a shot, drops it short. No support. He had to take the shot on, drops it short. Kilkenny gets the score. O'Donnell kicks the next wide under pressure. He's fallen. He lands on the floor and he kicks it. Con gets a fisted point after it. Okay. Then there's a kick pass intercepted by Merchant. He intercepts it. Con gets a free just on top of the D. Costello kicks it, and then Langan, which was the biggest visual for me, is running through the box. This is what I'm saying about teams running out of energy. Langan is running through. He's on the top of the D. and literally, lads, has no support. Like, there's no one around him. Ryan McHugh tries to get there. Dublin turned the ball over. Boom. It's a goal. And in the space of literally 4 minutes, it's 6-5 to Donegal. They seem like they're in the game. I feel in that moment, like everybody else, like what happened to me last year in the All-Ireland final, happened to Kerry in 2019 in the All-Ireland final in the second half. Literally, the legs are gone. And Donegal are 1-8-5 down. And as Paddy said, come out after the game, hold on to the ball for 2 minutes. McMahon scores a point from a pass from Scully,
brilliant
from
pass.
a different planet. Turnover from the resulting kick out. Fenton kicks the score. Turnover from the resulting kick out. Kilkenny gets the score. It's 110 to 7 points after 40 minutes. And
Watch and repeat.
111 to 7 points. And that's it, lads. I know it finishes quite well for Donegal, but that's it. The game is over. It's 40 minutes gone, and there's no way back.
So when you're in that vortex, when you feel like the control, the grip of the Dubs is coming around your neck, when you're a part of that team, like, what does that feel like? Why are they sucking the energy out of teams so well? How are they doing that?
I give an example because it's funny. We used to play the A's and B games. I think so. Dublin, we played kind of training games.
You were surely always on the A team, were you?
For a very too brief a period. By the end of my career, I was on the B team. Right?
So who you be marking?
Marking Fitz or someone like this. It's a complete shambles. So, but anyway, we go out, right? So the teams will be there, and if Andy, you'll notice this. Every intercounty player, every club player can relate to this. You're not in the starting 15, so you go out and you play a 20-minute or 30-minute match or whatever it is, and you're riled up. You're looking around, going, "I'm going to show the coach, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to shoot the lights out here and show them that I should be in the team." So we play these A's and B games, and there'll be 7 or 8 of us in that bracket. Michael R. McCauley, Kev Mack, all these guys, and we're like, right, lads, come on, let's get stuck into them from the start. And you're playing the Dublin, the first 15, but they know that. They know that that's our mindset. So the ball is thrown in this training game, and we're ready to run through brick walls. And say Fenton wins the kicker. Dublin, the A team will just keep the ball for 4 or 5 minutes just to piss us off, because they know what we're trying to do, and we're running around like mad, trying to get tackles on, and McCarthy will pop it to someone else, and Scully will have it, and he'll be taking the mick out of lads. Not in a bad, but just they know they're controlling it, and in the space of 5 minutes, by the end of it, they'll pop it. They work it to someone, and Khan scores a goal or something, and we're there. The wind in our sails is gone like that. That's control, but it's also like, it's a really experienced team, and you can't get away from it. Like, the guys there have 7, 8 All-Ireland medals. They've been doing this for 8 or 9 years. They've played the best teams. They played Division 1 for 10 years. There's a huge experience and knowledge bank there that Dublin have built up over the years. And you can see, if you look at the improvement, I would say, from Kerry and their play last year, where they had no attacking game plan, and Clifford is doing a shame what, trying to 4 shots against Cork. Look how much they've improved in the space of 6 months. Where now Clifford doesn't force anything. If his shot's on, he'll take it. If not, he'll pass it to someone else. And they're way more fluid. That's them just getting experience and game intelligence. And it takes time to do that. So Dublin have that, but it's also the way they're coached and the players themselves kind of taking that responsibility. It's playing those A's and B games. Horrendous.
Did you ever,
Jesus Christ,
in the last couple of years, did you ever have a massive performance in one of those A versus B games?
All too rare, I'm afraid.
Did you ever come off one of them going, I'm back in?
No, the odd time, yeah. But by the end, by last season now, I knew myself I was finished. Desi didn't need to tell me anything.
Were the Mayo A versus B games at the same level, Andy?
They were, but we would play a completely different style of football. Like with Dublin, we would try to disturb them as much as we could, and we would try to make it as chaotic as we could playing Dublin. But they've got better at it over the years. They've just got so much better at it. Like, yeah, it is. And it like, so if you look at the 2017-16 finals, you're seeing lots of the ball in the first half. You're playing really, but then you could go, it could be 4, you look up at the clock, and it's 42 minutes gone and the ball hasn't come up. So you're in a position there. Do I stick or do I twist? Do I keep high up the field to keep the Dublin team stretched with nobody inside me, inside 45 yards, just myself and Johnny Cooper if Fitzsimon's up there? Or do you go and try to look for the ball? So you could spend 5 or 6 minutes. So every ball you get then is the second half. This is what I'm so intrigued by tactics. I'm so intrigued as, okay, Dublin are going to do this to us. So what can we do different? I remember McGuinness in 2012 played Cork, and he played all out attack in the first half, and then he played all out defense. Like he threw Cork, he threw that Cork team completely, and he just ran them out the game. But they just conserved energy, and then when they came out, bang, they blew them away. And it was amazing to see. And I just don't think there's enough real high level thinking on what they're trying to do. And I think that's why Rochford, in fairness to him, troubled Dublin in 2016 and 17, because he wasn't afraid to make a decision. So if you look at the Robbie Henley decision for the 2016 final, that was done to try to win the game. It wasn't done to try to do anything else or hold Dublin or keep us close in the game. It was done to try to win the game and disturb Dublin. Aidan O'Shea to full back against Kerry in 2017. That was done as a change, as a difference. And I can't see why managers now are not thinking, okay, we're going to do this now, and then come on, let's throw something at them here.
Can I ask you a question about Rochford and that I'm hoping I remember this right. Was there a game against Tyrone where he pulled a fast one and he started Alan Dillon, and then Mickey Hart makes a switch to try and counteract the influence of Alan Dillon, and Rochford brings on Barry Moran, and Mickey Hart's switch is completely nullified because Dillon's been whipped off. He's done his job for 25-30 minutes. Am I remembering that right? Was that an All-Ireland?
Yeah, there was an All-Ireland quarter-final, I think, in 16, and Dillo
was genius.
Yeah, Dillo was finishing up. We all knew he was finishing up, but he used to do little moments in training, like where you think, oh, he might, and then he held him and didn't play him. And I know Dillo, right competitor, was probably frustrated, but then just had a word, played him. Paddy has mentioned the false 9 a few times, but literally played him as a false 9 or a 10, a soccer 10. And what Tyrone used to do, they used to play Colm Kavanagh, who used to sit back, as we've analysed quite a bit over the last couple of weeks, but they used to also play Justin McMahon at 6. So not only used to have one holder, they used to have 2 holders in there. So Rochford released Dillon as a ball player, kind of third midfielder out there, and it just opened them up for the first half. And then, as you said, they pulled Justin after 25. I think Colm Kavanagh or someone else went shortly after him. Then Rochford pulled Dillon at half time and somebody else, and it just kind of changed. Now, we still needed 2 unbelievable points from Lee Keegan to win the game for us, but it definitely made an impact on them, because they were probably at that stage a better team than us. But it stalled them and made them think and made them change, and it worked out well for us.
So when you're creating chaos, does anything work of breaking the Dublin momentum when they have that grip? Because I've seen very few teams actually break the grip. Kerry, obviously in 19 at times in that first game, were able to do it. Paddy, did anything work against you when you're in that stage?
I'll tell you now, the most important thing for the whole National League, we've had 4 games over the last 5 weeks. Kerry in the third quarter in Thurles, they got momentum on Dublin. I think they outscored, it was 8 points to a goal. I think Costello got a penalty, but that very rarely happens to Dublin, where they lose that kind of control and teams get a run on them. And for Dublin, that's what they will look at from the National League. They won't look at the Donegal game is nonsense, the Roscommon game is nonsense, the Galway game, they're irrelevant. They look at, okay, what did we do wrong here? How did Kerry get a run on us? Why did Paul Murphy score a couple of points? Why was Clifford getting free all of a sudden? And we lost control of that game in that moment. So that's what they'll take from that. And they'll learn the lessons. And I'm sure they've been reviewing that part. And the same with Peter Keane. Like, if you think at that stage, Dublin were 7 points up, like they were on Saturday night against Donegal. And I remember I was at the game thinking, this is it. This could be 10 or 12 points and Kerry are in a hole. And they turned it around. So both teams, for Peter Keane and for Kerry, they look at what did we do right in that section of the game. They're not going to be looking at the Galway game in Tralee or anything like that. That's what we always said at the start, that those 2 teams weren't worried or concerned about winning the National League. They wanted to find a couple of players, and they wanted to find a style that maximised their potential. And that quarter will be a huge learning point for both of those teams. And it's kind of who adapts to that better.
That's unreal. Yeah, I think that's great insight. But like, for us, what we did was we identified that this was going to happen. So we identified that Dublin are going to come out, they're going to try to control the game, they're going to try to hold the ball, and what are we going to do? So are we going to sit back? We didn't really do anything as such, but we at least identified that Dublin are going to try to come out and control the game just after half time. And how are we going to? And if it does happen for 10 minutes, let's not panic. Let's just sit in, keep the scoreline nice and steady, and then kind of try to double back on that. And we did in a way with Lee's.
But Andy, the reason why you guys would have been successful to a point and kind of challenging Dublin was you had the experience to go and do that. And that we, in our very first pod, when we're talking about previewing the season in the National League, this is what I'm talking about, that it takes teams, it takes players, and it takes coaches time to experience this, to understand. And what worked for Mayo might not work for Tyrone or work for Donegal, or look, what Peter Keane thought last season might work for Donegal clearly didn't work for Kerry against Cork. So that takes time. That's what we're talking about, a bedding in period for coaches, for Pádraig there with Galway, for Logan and Dooher with Tyrone, and they would have taken serious lessons from Saturday night themselves in Killarney. It takes time to find, what is my team comfortable with playing, what suits the players best. Then you're looking to go, okay, what do Dublin do, or what do Kerry do, or what do the top teams do? How can I develop a game plan and tactics that will suit my group of players that will counteract that? And it's difficult. That's where the coaches get the big bucks. That's where they're the managers. They need to figure that out. And like I say, there's no point in Andy going, well, this is what Mayo did. And going, well, Mayo had unbelievably athletic players. They had experience. They were hard. Does that suit Donegal's team, where they're a lot younger, bar Michael Murphy and say Ryan McHugh, and they like to play more on the front foot? Or does Tyrone style of play? You've seen Tyrone have tried to change their style of play, and it's been like Saturday night was a catastrophe for it. So this is what takes time. And we're talking about experience, we're talking about coaches, we're talking about implementing their style of play. That is the challenge. That's the role that the manager and the coaches, they get caught up in all the fancy stuff. There's some basics that need to be sorted first before getting into that.
What I'm hearing from you is that 12 minutes after half time in Dublin, Kerry and Semple is the most important 12 minutes of the National Football League so far. So football in 2021. So I'm gonna go back and watch that a few times.
If that was me, I'd be looking at that.